Hello students, hope you all are enjoying your e-classes. I am Mrs. Kavita Upadhyay, your English teacher working at Sri Maheshwar Girls Inter College, Aligarh. In my last lecture, I was teaching you a very interesting prose lesson, A Girl with a Basket, written by William C. Douglas. We are going to continue it in this lecture. Earlier in the lesson, the author described scenes and sights which he saw during his journey from New Delhi to Ranikhet. He also told you about the children selling baskets who had surrounded him at one platform, and the partition of India and its effect upon the people. Now let's continue. The children selling baskets were sons and daughters of these refugees. He told you about refugees, the people who had come from Pakistan to India because they were forced to leave the place as they were afraid for their lives due to religious fanaticism. The children selling baskets, these children who had surrounded him and wanted to sell baskets to him, were sons and daughters of these refugees. They or their parents or relatives had gathered in cities, setting up stalls, manufacturing simple articles, trying to make a living in markets already overcrowded. They or their parents and relatives, whoever was with them, they had gathered, collected in cities. They had started small business, very small business by manufacturing things with their own hands, handmade things. They set up small shops and tried to sell them in the markets already overcrowded means there were so many people selling the same thing in those markets. They also joined and tried to sell them and make their living, means earn their livelihood. They lived in cloth and grass sheds that lined the streets. On both sides of the streets there were sheds made of grass and cloth which served as a shelter for these refugees. The peasants among these refugees had been accustomed to little all their lives, for the annual income of an agricultural family does not on an average exceed $100 a year. The author says the peasants, the farmers, the small farmers among these refugees who were farmers in Pakistan had come to India after partition, had been accustomed, means used to, were habitual of living with little income all their lives because they were agricultural family. And he says that agricultural family in India does not make more than $100 a year. The average unskilled laborer makes 30 cents a day or less than $2 a week. The author says that unskilled laborer, the laborer who is not skilled in anything, like he is not carpenter or he is not mason, he is just a helper. Helping the skilled laborer is unskilled laborer. This unskilled laborer makes $2 a week or 30 cents a day. There is one meal a day. One meal a day means they can eat only once in a day. An onion, what does the meal consist of? An onion, a piece of bread, a bowl of pearls with milk. Maybe some milk, pearls, a piece of bread means ek roti, onion, and perhaps a bit of goat cheese. Goat cheese means paneer made from goat milk. No tea, no coffee, no fat, no sweets, no meat. These things were not included in their meals. Tea, coffee, fat means ghee or tel, sweets or meat. $100 a year is not $2 a week. If you calculate, there are 52 weeks in a year, and $2 a week means $104 a year. Whereas agricultural family's income is less than $100. Unskilled laborer is making $104 a year. Yet even that small amount is hard to earn by selling baskets to people too poor to buy them. The author says even $100 a year is very difficult to be earned by these people because they are selling things made by them to the people who are already very poor, so poor that they cannot buy these things. That no doubt is the reason, because it was very difficult to make both ends meet for these people. They were facing very hard times. They had no money. That is why. This is the reason, no doubt, certainly, that these little children descended on me like locusts. Locust is, in our language, in Hindi we call it tiddi. Like locusts attack in a swarm, a group, a large group. These children had also surrounded me like locusts. I, an American, was doubtless the most promising market they had seen. I was an American, a foreigner. And these children thought that I was a rich person coming to visit India and I had money so that I could buy what they wanted to sell. That is why they had surrounded me like this. I, an American, was, yes, I have already explained. Come to the next slide. Yes. I bought one tiny basket for a few annas, another fruit basket for a bit more, a beautiful waste paper basket for a rupee, a lovely sewing basket for a rupee, a few fans for an anna or two apiece. Now he tells you the things that he bought from these children. He bought one tiny means a small basket for a few annas. Few annas he spent on a basket. Another fruit basket. He also bought fruit basket for a bit more. Paid somewhat more than few annas. A beautiful waste paper basket for a rupee. He spent 1 rupee to buy a waste paper basket. A lovely sewing basket. Sewing basket means a basket used to keep things used for sewing, like needles and threads and bobbins, all those things. And I had spent a few fans for an anna or two apiece. He also bought some fans. He bought them for a few annas, for an anna or two apiece. For per piece he paid 1 or 2 anna. My arms were filled and I had spent not 50 cents. He had not spent 50 cents. 50 cents means half a dollar. And his arms were filled with all these things, the different kinds of baskets and fans. The children passed in, shouting their wares. Children passed in shouting their wares means he had purchased few things, but as one child sold his thing, he left, and another came and occupied his place and started shouting the name of the ware. Ware means thing he was trying to sell. I was a prisoner. I was like a prisoner. I was unable to move. I was completely surrounded by these children. The author says that these children had completely trapped him inside their circle. The most diligent, aggressive vendor was a beautiful girl of 9 right in front of me. Now, this is the girl the story is about. Let us introduce you to the most diligent, aggressive vendor. Diligent means hardworking. She was a hardworking. Aggressive means very competitive in nature. She was giving a tough competition to others in selling the basket, and she was right in front of the author. She was a beautiful girl of 9. Giving aggressive means she was shouting at the pitch of her voice, and she was pushing other children. Maybe she was aggressive and diligent. Diligent means hardworking, because she needed to sell a basket. She had a lovely basket with a handle. It was a lovely basket, and she wanted a rupee and a half for it, and about 30 cents. She wanted 1.5 rupee for it, and it was equal to about 30 cents. She was an earnest pleader. Earnest pleader means she was seriously pleading. Pleading means requesting the author to buy the basket. She was appealing to the author very seriously to buy the basket. There were tears in her eyes. She had tears in her eyes. She pleaded and begged in tones that would wring any heart. She pleaded and begged. She was pleading. I told you the meaning of plead is appeal. She was making appeal to buy the basket. She was requesting the author to buy the basket in tones. Tones means her voice, the way she was speaking, उसका जो लहजा था, that would wring any heart. Wring any heart means that would bring pity to any heart. The author was moved. My arms were full. His arms were full. He had already told you that he had already bought baskets, some fans. His arms were full. I had no room. No room means no place, no space to keep another basket, let alone any need. It's not let alone, it's let alone. Let alone means not to mention any need. I did not need another basket, but leave that aside. I had no place to keep the basket because my arms were full. For another basket, balancing my baskets and fans on my left arm. Still, as I wanted to help the girl, what I did, he balanced the baskets on one arm, on his left arm, balanced the baskets and fans on his one arm and reached into my right coat pocket and put his right hand into his right coat pocket, and got a handful of change. He got a handful of change. Change means some coins, small coins, perhaps 30 cents, 15 cents in all. Maybe 15 cents in all. He did not even count it, and which I deposited in the basket that the young girl held imploringly before me. The girl was begging earnestly and holding the basket in front of me. Imploringly means begging earnestly, begging seriously to buy the basket. She was holding the basket in front of me, and in that basket I put the change which I got from the right coat pocket. I tried to explain that I could not buy the basket. I tried to explain, but it was difficult to explain because they did not know each other's language. But extended the gratuity as a substitute. As a substitute, in place of explaining, because I could not, I extended the gratuity. Gratuity means this charity, some money for free. I tried to help her by giving some money for free. I realized at once what offense I had given. What offense? Offense means failure to show regard to others' feelings. This girl also had some feelings, the feeling of pride, self-reliance. I failed to regard those feelings. I realized at once because of the reaction of the girl. What was the reaction of the girl? Let us see. This child of 9, this girl, just 9-year-old, dressed in rags. What was she wearing? Tattered clothes, rags, old tattered clothes, and on the edge of starvation. On the edge of starvation means on the verge of being deprived of food. Means she had not enough to eat. She would have gone without food if she had not got money soon. So she was on the verge of starvation. This child of 9, dressed in rags and on the verge of starvation, raised her chin. Raised her chin means raised her head high. Reached into the basket. Reached into the basket means put her hand into the basket, and with all the pride and graciousness of a lady, handed the money back to me. With this pride, you know what is pride? Garv. And graciousness. Graciousness means maryada, dignity, excellence of manner, something that makes you respectable, of a lady, not a woman but a lady. Lady is an address given to a respectable woman. Like a respectable woman with pride and graciousness, with pride and excellence of manners, showing excellence of manners, she gave the money back to me. There was only one thing I could do. Now he wanted to help the girl because she was pleading in serious tones, but she was not accepting money for free. So he could do only one thing to help her. He bought the basket. That is why he bought the basket. She wiped her eyes. She wiped her eyes means she wiped the tears of her eyes, smiled and dashed down the platform. She got down the platform, headed for some grass hut that would have at least 30 cents that night. Now the author knew that the hut she was going to would have at least 30 cents that night because he had bought the basket and gave her money. That was about 30 cents, 1.5 rupee. I told this story to Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He met the Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru later on and he told this story to him. I told him that it was one reason I had fallen in love with India. The behavior of the girl, this pride and grace of the girl who acted like a lady, impressed the author so much that he had fallen in love with India. This is one reason he had fallen in love with India. Now he tells about people in general. The people I saw in India, those in villages as well as those in high office, have both pride and a lively sense of decency and citizenship. They also have a passion for independence. The author says that the people he met in India, he saw in India, those in villages, whether they were village people or those holding high offices, those holding high posts, have both pride and a lively sense of decency and citizenship. That means they have pride and their behavior is decent and civilized. Pride means यहाँ पर self-reliant. They are self-reliant people. They don't depend on others. Their behavior is decent. Sense of decency means their behavior is decent. And citizenship. Citizenship, a good citizen always thinks of being productive and useful to the society. And this is what is called being civilized. They also have a passion for independence. They value their independence a lot, their freedom, their independence. Independence again has two meanings. One is freedom and the other is not depending on others, being self-dependent, self-reliant. This beautiful child, born in squalor and poverty, uneducated in both grammar and manners, had given me a glimpse of the warm soul of India. This girl of 9, this was a little girl who was only 9 years old. She was a refugee girl. She was born in dirty surroundings to poor parents. She did not know refined language. She was uneducated in grammar. Grammar means language. She did not know refined language and manners. Nor did she know refined manners. She was pushing other children. She was being aggressive, shouting, had tears in front of a stranger. She did not know how to behave actually. But she had given me a glimpse of the warm soul of India. But she was a self-reliant and independent person. She was the symbol of India's high ideals. She had deeply impressed Mr. William C. Douglas, who was the judge of the Supreme Court of America and had visited India in 1950. Now you know about the character of the girl. I hope you would like to write a few lines about the girl and her behavior, why she was a symbol of India's warm soul, and what the author thought about the people of India in general. Try to write this small paragraphs about these things. This will be a good homework for you, and I take your leave now. Bye for now, and in the next video, next lecture, we shall continue with the next prose lesson. Hope you like reading with me, and stay safe, stay at home, and follow the guidelines given by the Ministry of